And then obviously, last but not least, making up 75% of my monthly income last month, 427 LBC, worth about $996 US. Sure. Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Scott Cunningham, and you can find my content under @ScottCBusiness, or if you look up crypto and things. And yeah, I just kind of dove into the crypto world just before the last major crash, unfortunately for me, investing wise. And then I decided to kind of dive into what was possible. I've been a social media marketer for about 6 years, so I wanted to see how social media was taking advantage of blockchain and cryptocurrency, and how people could like monetize with that. So I came upon Steam when Steam was Steam, before it became Hive, more or less. And that was the first thing I came upon, and from there I just started to explore and look at all the other, social media platforms out there, and beyond social media, just different ways that you could earn crypto. And that sort of started my journey over the past 2.5 years now of seeing how you can earn crypto and eventually maybe make a living off of it.
Yeah. So as far as like monetizing things and making making a living or parts of a living or whatever, I would guess you could separate in a few categories. And of course, let me know if you do any other things. Of course, the biggest one is video, which LBRY is a huge part of, but we'll get into the specific networks. But producing videos, producing blogs, or written content like that, that's like long form written, not just a post. Probably you'd say audio only podcast type stuff, although that could possibly be combined with the video. But again, we'll get to that. Social media posting, that people incentivize for social media posts, like just like the Twitter and the Facebook type stuff, except on these other platforms that actually pay you for stuff. And is there any other category I'm missing that's like a source?
I would say like outside of social, you've also got things like Brave browser. There's a few other like miscellaneous type sources, but I would say you've got the main ones covered.
Yeah. So basically, you make videos, articles, and then social media posts, and each of those categories will pay you depending on the network.
Yeah, exactly.
So first, obviously, I won't say the elephant in the room has a weird connotation to it, but let the big one, of course, video. We're talking mostly about LBRY. Now, before we go deep into LBRY, because that's a little self-flagellating around here, what are the other video sites or places you have uploaded to? And yeah, and then we'll go into how actually successful those are.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, so I just brought up my little list here so I can read them off. So where you can share video currently that might somewhat use the blockchain or fully use the blockchain, but either way, as long as you're able to earn crypto from your content, we're talking about minds.com, 3Speak, DTube, cause.tv, Vibravid, and then LBRY, as we already mentioned.
So, and all those are for like when you natively upload a video, right?
Yeah, and some of those you can also sync your video. I guess I also forgot to mention BitTube. Mind you, I've never earned a cent on BitTube, so I don't know how effective that really is.
Have you used BitChute at all?
Yes, I also use BitChute. I use a few other like just video alternatives as well, like TokenTuber might eventually offer cryptocurrency. Like it sort of has a crypto, but it's not really like legit yet, so we'll see about that. UGetTube and videos.utah gun exchange. They have an interesting decentralized video. Yeah, anywhere that you can upload decentralized video, I try to take advantage of it if possible. As well as bitlink.tv. That's another one I use. A lot of those are just like you import your videos in.
Yeah. So first off, let's just start with so BitChute. Has BitChute ever really compensated you in anything that you would kind of consider like writing home about?
No, and BitChute won't compensate you. You're only relying on if you can get into their ad program or if people donate to you through the platform. So something that I've always said is like really important to make note of is if you do have to rely on donations, it's very, very challenging for you to just like start a channel and hope that people are going to donate to you versus like a
Mhm.
platform that will reward you with like the platform rewards.
Yeah. So does BitChute have a lot of people trying to donate in your experience?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I've never gotten a donation, but I only have like, like under 200 subscribers on BitChute. And I've been uploading there for almost a year. So, take that as you will.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as you were saying about BitChute using blockchain-like technology.
Yeah, and then I wanted to get an interview with them, and I've been trying, but I've had no luck so far. And that their content creators Twitter account has been retweeting me a lot and sharing my stuff. So I figured that they might be interested, but I wasn't sure if that was an official account or not.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it seems like they use basically torrent technology to keep everything um, dispersed everywhere. Although, again, this is all from my like I guess biased library type perspective. Of it seems like it's not in a central spot to be accessed to. So, for example, if BitChute were to go down, you kind of would not know where to find everything. But
Mm.
that's just neither here nor there. So okay, so that covers BitChute. You mentioned the other ones you're using. Let's see, what else is there? What's like the runner up? Like I guess BitChute sounds like it'd be like the number two. It's bigger than LBRY as far as I know, but as
Hmm.
far as able to monetize and stuff, it's I would say number two. So or it's not number. So going down then from BitChute, what would the next one be?
Um, well, I mean, in terms of like monetizability, if that's a word, if you can monetize your content, or how easy it is from
Yeah.
like day one, I wouldn't even include BitChute,
Mm-hmm.
since you have to like get accepted and there's all this red tape. I would say like behind the library, right, like as it is today in terms of earning for video, I would say Three Speak has actually been pretty good for me
Mm-hmm.
on Hive. So that's kind of they used to be on Steam and now they're just on Hive.
Yeah.
Um, DTube has just been on Steam, but I think they're considering doing Hive now, and they're also building their own blockchain. So, that could be interesting to see how that plays out too. I think those two are the runner-ups for in terms of like how much I'm earning, are they using a blockchain and all that good stuff. I would say like there's a little bit of like I'm not totally sure about D2 because it's
Mm-hmm.
on like the old Steam, which is basically just Justin Sun's playground now. Um, but again, if they make their own chain and it launches well, and then they have their own thing, then I still support DTube and what they've
Yeah.
been doing leading up to this situation. And they're kind of like forced to choose, and they were also relying a lot on the Steam delegate or the Steam It community delegations.
Yeah, so as far as so I've used DTube and got basically nothing because it was right when Steam was like at its low point and then getting taken over and then all that
Mm,
kind of nonsense. Right when
yeah.
it transitioned from actual DTube to post your YouTube link and they'll just link here to YouTube and maybe someone tips you. But
Mm,
as far as Three Speak, so I use Three Speak. Um, Sometimes a video because it used to, now I don't think it does anymore for some reason. Re-Steam, as they still call it, even though it's not Steam. Like repost to your blog, and then sometimes I've gotten like a decent amount off of that, but actually on ThreeSpeak, the platform itself, rather than on Hive.blog, it's been like really negligible. I don't know if you've had any success building a following there, have you?
I haven't really been super focused on like Three Speak individually. I've just been mainly using the like the actual Hive interface, like Hive.blog or Peak D, which is like the Steam Peak alternative for Hive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I haven't really I don't like getting super focused on the individual platforms for each and like trying to build a following there. I think it's kind of weird when they have separate followings and followers on the same network because it
Yeah,
suggests that they might plan to like leave at some point.
of course.
Um, which is sort of what DTube is in the works of doing with their own chain. So I mean, in that instance, you know, who knows? 3Speak could end up doing something similar for all we know. There's no reason why they shouldn't per se. I mean, I think Hive is really solid, but it does show that when you are relying on a blockchain like they were originally on Steam, there obviously can be issues that you have when it's not like your blockchain. And like we see with like LBRY, they're not having, you know, issues. But a good thing with LBRY is that they also have the ability for people to create new interfaces in the similar way that we have like DTube and 3Speak and these different platforms.
Yeah. Now, what about like VibraVid? You're only the second person I've ever heard mention that, and I was like, "What is this thing?" And I kind of looked at it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, kind of." Is there any meaningful traction at this point?
I mean, it's a hard one because it is the first like Tron DApp that actually works, I
Mm,
would say. Everything I've tried otherwise on Tron has been not really working, or it's not even meant to be like a social network. It's just like gambling.
mm,
Um, so I mean, I will commend them on being one of the first like working projects, but there is still a lot of issues and things that you have to kind of work around. For example, they did recently like revamp their publisher and their UI, and it definitely looks way nicer, but it created a new glitch where when you're uploading a video, you have to do this like weird thing where you go into like an album. I'm not really sure what that is. Maybe it's like a playlist, but you have to use a pre-created one that you've made in the past, upload to that, then delete it, then upload a new video, and then it will work. Otherwise, if you press publish, nothing will happen.
hmm.
And they still haven't managed to fix this, and it's been a few weeks now. So I would say for the average person who isn't actually like aware of this, they just think it doesn't work anymore. So, you know, there's obviously a lot of problems and they're still working things out. They are very new and they have a very small team. But that is a major, major problem. I haven't earned anything on the platform. I've only like given away crypto because
Hmm.
they try to get you to incentivize users by giving away a little bit of their coin for people who watch. But then you don't really like earn anything. So I don't really understand how the monetization is working right now. Because again, I haven't earned anything and I've been posting on there for some time now. I have quite a few videos, but yeah, there's always issues, and they also only allow one format of video to be uploaded. So I have to upload a really giant file, and then sometimes they have file restrictions on size, and I can't compress it. So you're kind of screwed if it's like an interview. Like this might not be able to go on VibraVid. So they definitely have some stuff to work out. I would say another one that is like also kind of struggling a little bit, but like could eventually do something is cause.tv, cos.tv. Um, it's challenging to earn on there. You don't really get very much, and they've sort of copied Steam, but I don't really see it working very effectively. I mean, I've been posting on there for almost a year, and I probably earned about like $10. So I mean, you know, take that as you will. I don't really get a lot of engagement. A lot of it's spam. So I'm not super sure about that one, but you know, I'm always testing things out and trying things. I'll still continue posting on it because it's really easy to use. I will give them that. But you know, those are two kind of there's a potential that they could do good if they fix everything and get everything going, but right now they're kind of on the back burner for me.
Yeah, so it seems like the summary of all this is there's a lot of video sites and alternative video sites that are out there, and most of them are very rough around the edges products and not very big of a user base, and they don't really give you very much money. So it sounds
Mm.
like basically if you had to take all the non-library platforms and just that's all you got to lean into, that'd be significantly harder for you to do what you do, probably, right?
Yeah, but I would still recommend like if you still want to focus on a few other places, I would still look at 3Speak and DTube because
Hmm.
those are definitely still, you know, they're giving me profit. I mean, if you have issues with Steam, then you might just want to go with 3Speak, but to each their own.
All right, so that's the video component. And now, as far as library is concerned, so first off, do you post any non-video stuff on library?
Rarely I'll post like an image, but usually it's just like a giveaway or like I said like go and check out the other channel that I made, How to Library, or something really really simple,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a status post versus like an actual like long form content. But I mean, people post memes and stuff, and you can do that, but it's definitely geared towards video.
Yeah. And that's like the vast majority of your user base and your kind of profits, probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it basically, in your estimation? I mean, obviously you've done well on it, but as far as you say you're talking to other creators, is it to the stage where if someone had to choose between that and YouTube, they could just be like, you know what? I'm going to go on library exclusive and just see if it works, and it'll work out for those people. Do you think it's at that stage? Are we still too early? Is it like past that stage? Now it's like, don't even try YouTube, dude. It's like, just go straight there.
It depends what you're trying to do. So for me, I post I post to a lot of blogs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of like content that has to be in a blog format. Unfortunately, though LBRY has embeds, a lot of these other platforms don't really support anything outside of YouTube. And that's more of an issue on those other platforms. But because of that, I still do rely on YouTube for example, PublishOX. And I make a good amount on PublishOX, and I'm sure a lot of other people can too. Unfortunately, I have to use YouTube videos. So if I was demonetized, or rather, if I was banned
Mm-hmm.
off of YouTube, then my PublishOX, all of my content wouldn't really make that much sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not very, efficient. I mean, I'm in contact with the CEO of PublishOX. I was literally just chatting with him yesterday, and talking about potentially helping them get something going with LBRY for embeds, so people can embed their LBRY videos with no issues, and maybe even like a LBRY button on their publisher bar. So we'll see if that works, because I think that'll be really useful for a lot of people, especially myself. Um, just in the instance of like backing up my content, because I don't
Yeah, of course.
trust using just YouTube. And it's not that I'm like LBRY biased. I mean, I'd be happy to see DTube, 3Speak, any of them, or preferably all of them, because it'd be better to see that versus YouTube's support. So
Of course.
I would love to see that kind of stuff happen. But yeah, again, there is that problem though, that a lot of them still rely on like the legacy publisher, like maybe it's the code or whatever they're using for their publishers, because it's kind of like a lot of them seem very similar to Medium. But I would say that is the major thing that we need. We need the ability to embed videos from any of these platforms onto blogs and other platforms, and that will be a huge turning point for the industry to really spread out and get and improve SEO, improve tons of aspects that you wouldn't really consider. That is going to really take it to the next step. And I mean, even just simply, if a news article is written about LBRY and you have to use a YouTube embed, then it doesn't really show like the
Sad.
point of LBRY, right? So if news organizations could start embedding LBRY videos, that's where we're really going to see it take off.
Yeah, and especially because I believe it was in April. LBRY had like over 2.5 million visitors to LBRY.tv, which is by crypto standards, it's pretty huge.
Yeah,
Um,
which was
and
double or more than double of the
over
previous month.
double, yeah. And I don't think they've released the May numbers yet, but I'm sure it's got to be growth still. So even if it's like
Yeah,
2.7 million or something, I'd still be happy. But I'd hope five or more, you know. But
yeah,
when you got if they could only embed things, like for example, when I do the publishing stuff as well, and I have to embed a YouTube a lot of the times, and it just
hmm
imagine all that those people who want to be doing off LBRY, not just new user growth, but like current user growth, putting more traffic on, that would be crazy. Of all the stuff you rake in from these random crypto tokens around, what percentage of it is from the video piece of the pie? What percentage is from like the blogging platform piece of the pie, and what percent of it is just from like being on social media?
It's a
Like
great
roughly.
question. I don't even have to get rough because
Mhm.
I just finished doing this last night at about 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. I finished calculating all of my rewards for last month, so I can get pretty specific here. PublishOX earned me about, I would say, a little over $30 US last month.
Mhm.
So, I will say this. I mean, not all these platforms are going to earn you crazy money, but, it adds up over time. Brave
Yeah.
browser, I earned about $15 from, in terms of like, well, actually, no, I earned about $30 because that's including ad rewards from the actual browser and then creator rewards. Steam, I earned about $36. Hive, I earned about 143. So I will say Steam and Hive used to be very close.
And
Now
now Hive's
Steam
pulled
is,
away. Hmm.
yeah, Steam is dwindling because all of their support is gone. DTube can't give up votes, or it can, but they're not worth anything because of Steam pulling back all of its delegations. So I think it's very, very challenging for the average person on Steam now, to earn a lot unless you already have a ton of influence or you have whales who are backing you. So it's definitely gonna be a lot more challenging there. Hive is definitely starting to actually increase. So I earned probably double of what I earned last month. So me, I have my earnings here. It's 15,000 so me for last month. I just put a question mark beside it because I don't know what the real value is. Of course, the site tells me it's worth a ridiculous amount, but I beg to differ. And then float, I earned like my monthly donation, so it's like 250. Um,
Mhm.
Uptrend, I earned about 2,000 points. That's worth about $10. So like, it's all right. I would say with Uptrend, it's it might be challenging to get started now because I'm a pretty high level, so I've already invested like like a ridiculous amount of tokens to actually be earning what I'm able to earn. I still think it's possible, but they're making it more challenging to get started because you're competing with all the spam that we mentioned earlier now. Mines, I earned 0.147 ETH, so about $36 from the Mines Pro program. Problem is for the average person paying $50 a month for Mines Pro, you're just losing money.
Yeah, I mean, you would have
Um,
lost, I guess.
yeah. And then cause.tv, I earned like $1.50. That's I'm not even going to include that going forward because it's been so minor that I don't even know if it's worth bothering because I don't want to entice people that it's like a place where you can earn when you can't really earn very much. And then obviously, last but not least, making up 75% of my monthly income last month, 427 LBC, worth about
Mhm.
$996 US. So that is up from uh I'm 263% up from April in terms of crypto earnings. And again, 75% of that was LBC. So my LBC is up 230% in terms of how much more I'm earning. It's
Well,
uh it's pretty crazy. It's because the price went up. Well, it went up quite a bit and then it came back down, but from last month where it was almost 3 cents, when I last checked, it was pretty close to 4 cents. So it was almost a cent up from the last time I did this, and I earned 11,000 last month, whereas this month I earned
mhm.
25,000. So it is drastically like leading all of my content in terms of like how much I'm making. Everything else combined is only 25% of my earnings last month. Mind you, no one should be knocking, like $600, but
Yeah,
uh, if you have very little time, you might be more interested in the $1,300 for,
of course.
10% of the effort. Because a lot of people, they look at it like the 80-20 rule. You should put 80% of your time, or I mean, you should put all 80% of your time, or I'm forgetting
80%
how
of
this
your
works.
effort, or
Yes,
80% of your stuff comes from 20% of your effort.
there we go. There we go. And you got to make sure that that is prioritized so
Mhm.
um you're not in the flip situation where um you're not really earning from like the places where you should be earning, and you're focusing too much time in the places where it doesn't matter. I think that'll be one of the biggest issues with people trying to find a good platform, because then a lot of people, when they talk to me about this stuff, they get really entrenched in the first few platforms that they join, and they're like, no, this has got to be it, this has got to be it. That's what I think a lot of the D Live and Theta people feel like. So they're really entrenched in that original platform. It's like you got to be open to seeing that there's other options that are obviously better. Clearly, just by looking at my earnings, you can tell which platforms are going to bring you in some money. And I mean, not that that should be your driving motivation. Obviously, people are looking for ways to monetize, so that's going to be a huge impact to their decision.